Brother, you need to suffer to create comfort. You cannot experience the life that you want without having discomfort in your life. An example of this is going to the gym. You have no problem throwing 300 pounds on your back, 400 pounds on your back, 500 pounds on your back to suffer to build a stronger and bigger body. But you have every problem with suffering in regards to the entirety of your dream life. It doesn't make sense when you really think about it. Why are you not allowing yourself the privilege of suffering more? I have talked to many men in my life, and there's a massive theme in many of these men's lives that it's almost a sense of entitlement too, that suffering, they're too good for suffering, that they shouldn't have to suffer because apparently there's some way of bypassing God's law. Bro, you're delusional, the wrong type of delusional. Now, I don't intend to rip you apart because I don't think that's ever constructive, and I don't think that really actually helps you become the man that you want to be. But I do think having a sense of tough love and honesty is exactly what you need. So I hope that you can take this video with a brotherly type of love. Now, you have dreams. You want to have your own business. You want to be a heart-led man. You want to be a leader. You want to show people what is possible. You want to provide. You want to protect. You are a traditional man in the same way that I am a traditional man. Now, in order to truly be a secure traditional man, suffering is truly at the foundation of this man. Now, I want to clarify that this suffering is not a, ooh, look at me kind of way. Oh, poor me, I'm suffering. No, it's more of a, this is how life is. I can suffer two ways. And then I got this from Alex Hormozi in one of his videos, where he says something along the lines of, you're going to suffer no matter what, so you might as well suffer in the thing that is most proactive towards your dreams. Because you can sit on the couch, watch Netflix, play your games, and jerk off to these Instagram models, and that seems like a pretty, for a lot of people, that seems like a pretty good life. For me, that sounds like fucking awful and terrible, and fuck me, that sounds awful. And the problem with that for a lot of guys, as satisfied as they are, is that they are constantly reminded that they're not where they want to be. So their suffering is this existential crisis that they are a failure. And they want to have the millions of dollars. They want to have the business. They want to have the body. They want these things, but they're not willing to suffer to get it. Now, the other form of suffering is the one that actually allows you the life that you want for yourself, because you understand that in order to build a body, I have to suffer. In order to build a successful business, I have to suffer by building systems. I have to actually go knock doors. I actually have to produce jobs. I got to do taxes. I got to do these things. But the result of suffering to create the business that you want for yourself is a trip to Spain for a month, a Bali for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and eventually a business that pays you residually and actually maybe allows you to sell the business for a 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 figure exit. Now, brother, I know you very well, and I know that the second option is something that makes logical sense to you, and that's exactly what you want for yourself. Me too. Because it is the most logical, it is the most fulfilling, it is the most rewarding, and it just, I don't see why you would want to choose the first option, because you're not getting anything that you want, and you're seeing everyone else have what you want, and you just sit there waiting for the perfect opportunity, which doesn't exist, because the only perfect opportunity is this moment right now, the eternal present moment, which so many spiritual texts talk about. Or divine intervention is really just another way of saying right now I'm having an intervention with myself where I need to change my perception towards suffering, in which I actually go take action towards my dream life. That is divine intervention. Divine intervention is not waiting for some spiritual figure to come out of the skies and tap you on your shoulder and say, hey, here's this key to your dream life. That doesn't exist, unfortunately. Fortunately, I should say, because that just doesn't give me any sense of free will, nor does it give me any sense of self-sovereignty if I have someone giving a key to the kingdoms. I want to earn my kingdom. I don't want to be given a kingdom. Now, some people might take that key happily and never work for the kingdom. The only problem with that type of person too, though, is that they, when going up against someone who actually earned their kingdom through their own suffering, they are going to get their ass fucking mopped all over the floor because they have no experience actually genuinely suffering to create the life that they want for themselves. So, brother, you need to change your perspective on suffering. And if you're like me, then you were brainwashed by the spiritual CIA social engineering program to make people entitled to suffering so that people can actually become docile and think things into existence, which is impossible. I was brainwashed by the social engineering program. I don't even know if it's a real program, but I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And I genuinely believe that there's a lot of agencies, government agencies, black project agencies, so to speak, using spirituality as a method of socially engineering people to be docile and incapable of actually creating their dreams. Because like me, at one point in my life, I was like, oh, I can just think things into existence and I don't got to take action. And I just waited and waited. And it's really kind of just another form. It's just another packaging religion into a different box with different expressions in details, but it's really the same thing. Everyone's waiting for their Messiah to come back, even though people have been waiting for hundreds and thousands of years for the Messiah to come back, but the Messiah has never come back. Just like in Dune, when, what's her name? Paul's girlfriend, when they're all in the big synagogue, the synagogue of Satan, she got up and said, don't you realize this is how they keep us controlled and docile, blah, blah, blah. It's the same fucking thing, bro. Because if you think that all you have to do is think things into existence, you're not actually being a productive citizen, creating something of value. You're just being entitled little brat, expecting things to be handed to you. That's not the way. Brother, you're so much better than that because you want to feel the sense of ownership of the life that you want for yourselves. You don't want to think things into existence and it just pops into your life. Now, of course, there's nuance to this and you can't really, there is truth to that. But in the overall scheme of your life, I guess I could say, you have to take action. And a lot of the times with action, suffering is part of the equation. Conversely, like the idea of finding your wife, for example, is really, I can't say luck, but it's more of a mental, imaginal creation of your wife to the degree that you meet her in happenstance, just the side of the street, cafe, I don't know, however the situation arises. You can't really control that, but the only thing you can control that is actually going out of your house and putting yourself in a situation where you can potentially meet her. So there's action in that. And the suffering that comes from that is cold approaching women, which is uncomfortable if you don't know how to do it. So there's action in that, but there's really just happenstance when meeting your wife in that specific example. But there's still that notion of suffering to get there. So, brother, you got to suffer, man. Change your perspective. Suffering is a beautiful thing. It is a powerful thing. And if you can accept this law of reality, you can actually derive a lot of joy and really kind of pleasure from suffering. Because on the other side of the workout, you have a beautiful body. And that makes you proud. It makes you stronger. It makes you faster. It makes you more attractive. It makes you healthier. It makes you live longer. And there's a lot of pleasure in that. There's a lot of joy in that. There's a lot of fulfillment in that. And if you can take that and apply it to other areas of your life, shortly your life becomes a beautiful life because you are the one creating your life because you know what methods of suffering are needed to create the results that you want for yourself. Again, with business, the suffering is you knocking doors in 15-degree weather, booking estimates for your painting business, your lawn care business, your carpentry business, whatever it might be, in the ways that's exactly what I'm doing. It's not my favorite thing to go out when it's fucking winter and it's cold as shit. And I don't know why I don't get gloves, but I don't have gloves. My fingers are frozen. I can barely type, but I got to put measurements in to make sure I get the right. I don't overcharge the customer because if I put too much my measurements are wrong and I measure too much, I'm adding measurements in to the price that doesn't exist. So I just got to be mindful, but it sucks. It's not my favorite thing to do, man. There's suffering in that. I'm suffering, bro. I suffered this morning a little bit for I wouldn't even consider it suffering because I think I've matured enough to realize that this isn't really suffering, but the point is it's just cold, bro. And I still show up because I'm trying to build a business that's going to make me $500,000 in profit. And the same thing for my brother. We both are going to have to suffer to make that a reality. But we're both happy doing it because it's fulfilling, bro. Brother, ask yourself, what forms of suffering do I need to bring me to my dream life? And I guess another question is, what materialistic things and spiritual things come from the avenues of suffering that I'm currently experiencing? and putting myself through. And I'll use myself as an example for you, my friend. Me being in 15-degree, 20-degree weather, doing estimates for my job or for my clients, the result of that is from a couple jobs today could net me anywhere from $30,000 to $20,000 to $40,000 in profit. That's pretty great. And if that $20,000 to $30,000 in profit is invested into investments, I can turn $20,000 to $30,000 into $100,000, if not $1 million, if not tens of millions of dollars, depending on a specific investment that I'm thinking of. And I'm not playing short term, I'm playing long term. 10 years down the line, I'm thinking, I ain't doing that short term investment shit anymore because it hasn't worked out and it's only brought me pain or suffering. But I know in the end, these investments are going to make me the money that I want. So it's okay. But if you are investing, not that I'm not an investment advisor, but my advice from my short couple years of investing, just do long term, bro. Don't even think about short term. You need to put that money in and set it aside for 5 to 10 years before you have any emotional reaction towards it. I digress. But the money that I'm making from these jobs, potential jobs, if I book them, is profit. And that profit increases my well-being. So asking yourself, if I choose to suffer and work out, what is the result of that? Obviously, stronger biceps, more attraction from women. And if I have more attraction from women, then I have higher chances of being in a beautiful relationship or having a wonderful roster. If I want to, let's say you want to work on your social skills, go outside right now. And the suffering is you creating awkward situations, but the result of these sufferings is data for you to learn to have better social interactions. What is the result of having a better social life, my friend? A better social life is more opportunities for you to meet somebody who can actually help build your business to a degree where you're making $500,000 in profit or $1 million in profit or however much profit you really want to make. So I think the problem so many men have in their personal lives is they're not able to ask themselves the right questions in regards to suffering. The notion of suffering is always revolving around lack and scarcity and fear. And I think I know this is a matter of social engineering through music, TV shows, movies, and social media, influencing politics, blah, blah, blah. Because obviously a mind that is rooted in fear, lack, and scarcity is a mind that is easily controllable. If you're a docile male, then you're not going to fight back for your country or a better world. And that's a bit of a dramatic connection. It's absolutely true. Because if you're not going to, for your life, if you're not willing to suffer for your own life, then you're fucking sure as hell not willing to suffer for the people around you, let alone humanity in its entirety. Like, you're not going to do shit if you can't even do shit for yourself. You know what I mean, brother? And a lot of brothers are in that position. They don't suffer for themselves. So they're not going to suffer for the people next to them. They're not going to suffer for the well-being of their state that they live in or the country that they live in, because they're too fixated on this sense of entitlement that they don't need to suffer for whatever fucking reason it is. There's infinite reasons you can muster up. So thankfully, brother, you're not a 100% a degenerate yet. And I hope that you don't get to that position, because if you are 100% a degenerate, there is still faith. There is still hope, but you're not there. More than likely, you're actually very far from that position, and you just need a little brotherly love to get you out of this little hump that you're in. But if you're not there and you're this entitled little dickhead, I highly encourage you to seek discomfort, because everything that you want for yourself is on the other side of the thing that you're avoiding doing. Truly. Every great achievement that I've made, any great achievement that a man in your life that you look up to was a result of suffering. And obviously, again, there's always nuance to these conversations, but generally speaking, objectively speaking, suffering is something you have to go through in order to create the life that you want for yourself. So, brother, stop being lazy. Stop seeking comfort, thinking that discomfort leads you to more discomfort. It is always opposite, bro. You choosing comfort for yourself is only leading to more discomfort. And all you need to do, truly all you need to do, is to seek discomfort, and that discomfort is going to bring you comfort that you want and yearn for. Because part of the reason why you can't sit down and feel secure in your ability to relax is because you're not allowing yourself the hard work. You're not allowing yourself to suffer to earn that privilege. And there's neuroscience behind all this stuff. You know, the dopamine reward of doing hard things. Like you give yourself a reward by doing hard things. You feel good. In a way you can justify TV or video games is by doing things that are forced you to suffer. And then you can actually sit down and enjoy it without feeling guilty and a piece of shit, which is always just better. There's so much, I want to say so much more about this. So I'm going to have to probably create a series on this because there are many subtopics in regards to the nature of suffering that I would love to add into this, but this is a 18.5-minute video now, and this is getting too long. So the last thing I'll say is community. This is a space for men who are isolated, men who, you know, it's not that you don't think you're different. You don't have that weird perspective like, oh, look at me, I'm different, this, that. It's like, you're not like that, but you're more ambitious. You know, you have ideas that don't sit well with other men in your life, and you're probably actually more ambitious than anything. You just lack structure and proper guidance. Get you the life that you want for yourself as a man in this big, very big world that we have. So I would say join the community. You know, I just created this, so no one's joined yet. So you'll have direct access to me and my experience with building my business for the past really 4 years now. I built a $2 million company with my two brothers and my dad. I just started my own company with one of my brothers, and the goal is to do 1.5 million this year. So I'm here to offer any input about what you can do for your business. I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do with the community brother. But for now, I think just having a space for you to connect with me and hopefully a bunch of other guys who join as I grow this brand, you know, you're not alone, okay? Having other men in your life to give you support is such a necessity to become the man that you want to be. I've been fortunate to have great men in my life, and there's been a lot that I've lacked. And part of my pursuit to create this brand is out of selfish interest to seek true masculinity in the ways that I'm looking for. So if you're interested in being able to connect with other men, you know, to build your body, to build your mind, to build your business, to have genuine masculine, healthy support in which you're going to be called a pussy. You're going to be called all these names, but it's always in a playful way. Okay. It's not in a derogatory, aggressive way. It's always in a way of like, hey, brother, you got this, man. Like, what are you doing? You're being the silly little shit, bro. Like, you're good. Like, you have it. I'm here to support you. Of course, I'm going to tease you because that's fun. It's playful. It's not serious. Okay. So if you're interested, click the link below, join the community, be part of something phenomenal, be part of something amazing, be part of something that creates impact by leading by example. I'll see you there, brother.